Welcome to the Insurance Agents and Brokers Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the audio version of Coverage Corner. Coverage Corner is a monthly column in IA&B's primary agent magazine. The March 2026 column is entitled, The Potentially Catastrophic Invisible Homeowners Exclusion by Bill Wilson. Your personal lines insureds could lose their homes, not because of a clear and conspicuous exclusion, but because of three words buried in a definition, casually referenced in an insuring agreement. To illustrate, my maternal grandmother was a warrior. In her late 80s, she had both knees and both hips replaced at separate times. After surgery and rehab, she returned to her retirement home apartment. Then she learned she had a condition called Paget's disease and had to have a leg amputated just below the knee. Surgery, rehab, and again. She refused moving to a nursing home and returned to her apartment. I told you she was a warrior. Unfortunately, in an accident shortly after her 90th birthday, she incurred multiple fractures in her other leg. While the surgeon was able to save the leg, it was clear that she would be unable to return to her apartment. I had the task of telling her this at about 8 p.m. on a Friday night. On the following Monday morning, she passed away. I don't know how one does this, but I believe that she recognized it was time to move on, just not to a nursing home. Now, for the purpose of this article, let's assume that she lived not in an apartment, but in a house insured under an ISO 0003 policy. If her home burned down or was destroyed by a tornado after 8 p.m. on that Friday night, would there be any homeowners coverage? Not according to some insurers and courts. Here's why. The dwelling coverage on most homeowners policies, and specifically ISOHO forms, says, we cover the dwelling on the residence premises shown in the declarations. The term residence premises is defined to include the one-family dwelling where you reside. Note the wording, where you reside, 3 words, buried in a definition, casually referenced in an insuring agreement. The word you refers to the named insured shown in the declarations and the spouse if a resident of the same household. The key word requires residency as a condition of coverage for damage to the dwelling. According to one view, if the named insured no longer resides in the home, coverage on the dwelling ends when the residency ends. In my hypothetical, under this interpretation, if my grandmother owned and insured a dwelling rather than an apartment, her homeowner's insurance coverage ended at 8 p.m. on that Friday night. Consider the many ways residency might end. In this case, it's death of the named insured. And yes, there is a death condition in ISO and other homeowners policies that extends coverage to the legal representative of the deceased. But in this example, at 8 p.m., there is arguably no legal representative identified, and even if there was, the death condition does not modify the where you reside language cited as the basis for denying a claim. The residency situation first came to my attention a little over 25 years ago when an agent contacted me about a claim denial following the rental of an insured's home. As I recall, the named insured resided there when the policy was issued but was transferred by his employer with very short notice and had just rented the home but failed to understand the importance of notifying his agent or insurer of the change in residency. As a result of the denial, I wrote an article entitled Rent Your Home, Void Your Insurance Policy. Over the next few years, I began to get a fairly regular stream of claim issues involving residency. One was a Maryland vandalism and theft claim where the named insureds had permanently relocated to a secondary residence and their daughter resided in the subject residence. The insurer denied the vandalism damage to the dwelling and, in addition, denied the daughter's personal property theft claim since she was not a resident of her parents' household. In an almost identical occupancy situation, an insurer in Pennsylvania denied a fire claim as the named insureds had moved to a retirement home and the subject residence was occupied by their daughter. In Rhode Island, named insureds had bought a house, insured it on a homeowner's policy, but had not yet moved in because renovations took several months. A very common fixer-upper occurrence. The insurer denied a 5-figure fire claim, citing the where you reside language since actual residency had not yet occurred. Over the years, I've lost track of the number of claim denials in New York, where the courts have consistently upheld the where you reside language as thwarting coverage when no residency exists. Does your book of homeowners business have non-residency issues? I'll pretty much guarantee it. Unfortunately, I'm at my space limit for this month's article. But if you want to dig deeper into this issue, including some remedies that may exist, the Big I Virtual University has a resource page at independentagent.com/vu_resource/where-you-reside. Or you're welcome to reach out to me via email at the address below. Written by Bill Wilson, CPCU, ARN, AIN, AAN, is the founder and CEO of InsuranceCommentary.com and the author of 6 books, including the Amazon 4.8-star When Words Collide, Resolving Insurance Coverage and Claims Disputes, which Book Authority ranks as the #1 insurance book of all time. Thank you for listening.
Insurance Agents and Brokers is the premier resource and champion for independent insurance agencies in Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware. For more information, visit iab4me.com.